story time video of how we had a house fire on the day of my baby shower. Now, my baby shower was last year in 2019 on November 2nd. So we had it at a church, and so we went to the church, and my dad and my brother stayed home because it was like a girls only baby shower, because I know some people don't really do it like that anymore, but that's how I like to do it anyway. So after the baby shower was over, my dad and my brother came to help take everything down and put all the tables away and clean up the church after we were done using it. And I think they were there for about 30 minutes, and the church is really not that far away from my house. I think it's about a 7-minute drive, not even a 7-minute drive, maybe a 5-minute drive. So they were there for about 30 minutes, and we put everything away, and we got in the car and we drove home. When we got home, we got out of the car and we could hear smoke alarms going off, and we didn't think it was coming from our house. It kind of sounded like it was coming from the next door neighbor's house. So we began to walk up to the door, and it was like louder. The smoke detectors were like, oh no. So my dad unlocks the door and opens the door, and all this like gray and black smoke just started flowing like out the door, and we were like, oh no. And my dogs were home. They were inside the house, but it was so engulfed with smoke that we couldn't see anything. I was pregnant, so I didn't go in the house, but my parents both did. My mom was really worried about the dogs, so she ran inside and was looking for them, and my dad went inside and tried to put the fire out. Where the fire was coming from is the stove and the microwave. They're not really sure how it started still to this day. My parents think the dogs jumped up to the stove, because we had a gas fire stove, like a gas stove, and they think they jumped up to the stove and turned on the burner, like bumped it on, because the knobs were on the front of the stove, like above the door to open the stove. So what they think is that they jumped up and bumped it on, and there was a cutting board next to the stove that they think caught fire, and that's what started the whole entire thing. But that's just what they think. But anyway, so my mom was looking for the dogs. My dad was in there like pouring water on it, and it wasn't, and trying to get it out, like trying to get it to burn out, and it wouldn't burn out. And I remember standing outside with my siblings, and I hear my dad just scream, call 911 right now. And so I call 911, and while I'm on the phone with the operator, my mom says she can't find Bella. Bella is our black boxer. She was able to find Vivi, but at first she was not able to find Bella because she's a black fur, so she kind of blended in with the smoke. And I remember my mom's like, oh my gosh, I can't find Bella, I can't find Bella. And I remember freaking out and crying, and the lady on the phone's like, what's wrong? And I was like, they can't find our second dog, or they still can't find one of our dogs. And she's like, it's okay, it's okay. Firefighters get here, we will have them go in and look for her. And so I was worried that Bella died from inhaling too much smoke, so I was like freaking out. And then my mom ended up finding her, and I watched both my parents grabbed them and went out the back door into our backyard, and they put the dogs back there so they wouldn't run away, because if we would have put them in the front yard, they would have ran down the street. So they put them behind the fence. Bella was kind of breathing funny. She was kind of like going and so finally the police station and the fire station pull up, and they go in the house, and the fire had actually put itself out. So they went in there, investigated. They brought in this like gigantic fan thing that was gonna push out all the smoke, and it's called an air cleaner. It like cleans the air. So they brought that in, and then they went inside to investigate the kitchen, and they looked all around the house and made sure nothing else was like burnt. So what got burnt is the stove, the floor, the roof, and the microwave was completely melted. So they took out the microwave. I remember when they took out the microwave, it sat on the ground. It was like super melted, and it smelled terrible. Like the smell of melted burning plastic is so terrible. It was so strong. I remember they sat that on the side of the house, and me and my siblings were looking at it and like, oh my gosh. And so they still didn't recommend that I go inside because I was pregnant, and I don't think it's a good idea for me to breathe in that much smoke and stuff. So I stayed outside. My grandma came and she rushed over here and made sure we were all okay. She was there with me, and I was crying because, you know, it was very traumatic. I would never experienced something like this before. So I was crying, and I was worried about Bella because of her breathing, and the firefighters said that her being outside and breathing the fresh air, she should eventually be okay. Her breathing is a little bit like labored, but it's just because she's been breathing in so much smoke. But keeping her outside and letting her breathe in the fresh air eventually should go back to normal, and it actually did, so it was good. And then my boyfriend came. I had called my boyfriend, let him know what was going on, so he came home from work and he was like with us and stuff, and we didn't know where we were gonna sleep or anything that night. It was, I don't know, all my baby shower stuff was still in the back of my mom's car and everything, so it was just a really crazy day. But fast forward about 3 hours later, the firefighters cleaned out the air the most they could. They did leave one of their big fan air cleaner things in our house running so that they could make sure that they really get it out of the air as much as they could. And so yeah, and then later that night we were trying to figure out where we were gonna sleep. My grandma offered for us to stay at her house, but my parents didn't really want to do that, so they didn't really want to do that, and the firefighters said it would be okay for us to sleep in our house tonight. So we did. We slept in our house that same night. I remember being paranoid that the house was gonna start on fire again. It was a really weird experience. I was sleeping down in the basement with my boyfriend, and the whole house just smelled horrible. Like, it smelled so bad. Like, I can't even explain the smell that it smelled like, but I remember that smell was keeping me awake, and my brain just reliving it in my head over and over again that whole night. It was just such a weird experience. But the next day, my parents decided to stay in a hotel. Our insurance company was gonna put us in a hotel. It was like a suite hotel, so they put my parents in their own room, had a kitchen, a little living room, and then it had 2 bedrooms. They put me in a hotel in our own suite. It had a kitchen, a bed, and a couch in it. It didn't have any separate bedrooms, and of course a bathroom. And then my sister got her own room, which was built kind of like, it was laid out like mine. And so the next day we started moving our stuff into their hotel rooms. So I brought all my baby stuff because we didn't know how long we were gonna be in the hotel. So I ended up packing the bassinet, the clothes, socks, baby towels, all the stuff I really needed, some of my clothes, my bag, and then just everything that I think I would need. They only estimated that we'd be in there for a month, so I only brought stuff that would last for a month. So I only had a few outfits. So I only brought a few outfits with me, but we actually ended up being there for 4 months. So I was wearing like the same 4 shirts, same 3 pairs of pants. I had a pair of leggings, maternity pants, and a pair of normal pants in case I was able to fit into them again, which I didn't. So I had like the same 3 outfits for 4 months, and so it looked like I wore the same thing every day, but I wasn't. I just didn't bring all my clothes. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. The second month we were there, I ended up having Kayson. So I had a newborn in the hotel. It kind of sucked because every time I'd put him down, when you go to sleep for naps and stuff, the housekeeping would come in and they would want to vacuum and stuff. So I'd literally have to pick him up while he was sleeping, go stand in the hall until they were done, and then put him back in his bassinet. The nice thing about that is when Kayson was first born, he was very easy. The only time he'd wake up and cry is if he's hungry and needed his diaper changed. That's it. And most of the time he slept, he was maybe awake for maybe 1 to 2 hours a day, and then just slept the majority for the first month of his life. So he's fairly easy. So having him in the hotel wasn't very hard. But once he got around 2 months old, he started to become fussy and high needs baby. So I was constantly carrying him around the hotel, bouncing and walking in circles around the hotel. I wasn't working or anything, so I get so freaking bored. I remember I had an iPad that I no longer have, and I would draw on there on Procreate and just clean up around the hotel, watch TV, and took a lot of naps. That's really all I ever did. But yeah, and then on March 1st, we ended up moving back into our house. We still didn't have a kitchen fully yet because it still wasn't fully finished. So we had to use a cooler with ice in it for like the milk and our drinks. So my parents were buying ice like every day to keep all of that cold. So kind of sucked. And yeah, that's pretty much the story time of the house fire on the day of my baby shower, and the hotel story. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.